happy you're here. So today's class is simply to go back to basics and kind of talk about why we even step on our mat. And then when we do, how we can be really confident moving in a way that makes us feel good that day. So we're going to talk lots about modifications and making sure we know what the poses are that we need to achieve and how we can best make sure we're treating our body well. If you are brand new to yoga, this is a great class to get you started. If you are more experienced, this is a great way to kind of reinvigorate your practice, get grounded. We all need that lately, and kind of just come back into why we do it. So I'm so excited you're here. Before we begin, I encourage you to find some sort of block. So I'm going to be using my water bottle as my block. A block is simply a tool to bring the floor closer to you. For example, if I'm in a forward fold and I can't quite reach the ground, it's nice to be able to hold on to something that's stable and lifts the ground closer to you. So I would take a moment and see if you can go ahead and find some sort of block in your house. This could be a big book. It could be a water bottle like me, or anything firm and sturdy, and that's a really great place to start. As we're getting ourselves settled, you can come down to a seated position. I just want to talk for a moment about what yoga is and some of the definitions that are really important to us. Yoga is not just being really flexible on our mat. It actually has 8 important limbs, and I'm going to go through them now so we just get an idea of how big yoga really is. I think sometimes people are intimidated by yoga because it just seems like the most tiny, flexible people, and it becomes a bit athletic, and that's okay. That can be part of our practice. But it's so much richer and so much more. And when we keep that in mind, no matter how we're feeling, strong, weak, challenged, spiritually enlightened, or disengaged, we can actually get something. So the 8 limbs of yoga are part of the foundation. We have our yamas, involves behavior and ethics. For example, truthfulness, which is satya. We also have our niyamas, which involves more discipline and observances that we should be following. And something like that would be cleanliness, right? Keeping yourself and your mind clean. That's really a good example. The third limb is asana, which is the postures and poses, which we're going to focus primarily on today. I think it's really useful in class and gets people confident to even step onto their mat. We have our pranayama, which is our breath control, and that's really important as well. Pratyahara, which is withdrawal into oneself, leaving the external and coming internal. We also have dharana, which is our concentration, our dhyana, which is meditation, and samadhi, which is our connection to the divine. And all those 8 things have so many amazing intricacies within them that we could talk about another time. But it's a good reminder that yoga, there's no competition. You can't be really good at yoga. It's a constant journey, and we're working through all of these elements. But one that we can tackle today is asana and a little bit of pranayama. So we're going to focus on our bodies today and lots of modifications. We're going to start in a seated position. I want to take a moment just to get the mind a little more settled. Find a comfortable seated position. You can be on your knees. You can be cross-legged like myself. And if it feels good to sit on something like a bolster, a pillow, or even just a rolled up back of your mat, that's a great option. Sometimes sitting like this can really actually be quite a good workout for the abdominals. If your hips are a little bit tight, think about pushing down to the floor, gently lifting that chest, shoulders down. And I want you to take a moment to close your eyes. Maybe place the hands onto the knees or in the lap. And I want you just to notice your breath, maybe even your heartbeat. Notice the weight of your body imprinting downward. Maybe you can feel your sits bones, your ischial tuberosities, the very bottom of your pelvis, on either side of your sacrum. I want you to think about growing tall from the sacrum, the pelvis, through the spine, up through the top of the head. Soften those shoulders again. I'm going to read from you a passage, one of my favorite books, The Art of Communicating by Thich Nhat Hanh. Some of my favorite passages when I'm feeling like I need to come back to myself for my practice. When we begin to practice mindful awareness, we start the path home to ourselves. Home is the place where loneliness disappears. When we're home, we feel warm, comfortable, safe, fulfilled. We've gone away from our homes for a long time, and our homes have become neglected. But the path back home is not long. Home is inside us. Going home requires only sitting down and being with yourself, accepting the situation as it is. It might be a mess in there, but we accept it because we know we have left home for a long time. So now we're home. With our in-breath and our out-breath, our mindful breathing, we begin to tidy up our homes. And with that, I want you to come into a little more awareness of that breath. See if you can lengthen that inhale just a little more. See if you can lengthen your exhale a little more. We're going to try to match the length of time it takes us to inhale. It's the same it does to exhale. As you continue to breathe, I want you to notice the way the belly reacts to your breath. Noticing how the belly, maybe even the lower rib cage, expands on that inhale. Now it all softens back inward on the exhale. Even though we're sitting up tall and strong, you can see if we can just relax through that breath, finding that belly breath. And we're going to work into our Ujjayi pranayama, also called our ocean breath. It's going to start with a long inhale, and the exhale is particularly special. We put a little constriction in the back of the throat, just like if we were fogging up a window or a mirror. It helps slow down our breath and build heat. It also helps regulate our heart rate, keep everything steady. So with me, go ahead and take a long exhale, just sigh it all out, open mouth. Seal the lips and inhale through the nose for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale out through the mouth. Find that sound. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take it in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'll take the next one with you. Deep inhale through the nose. And out. And in. And out. Continue that on your own. Use that long inhale and that long exhale in your own rhythm. And as you breathe, you might notice yourself becoming a little more drawn inward. We're going to come to an intention for our practice. It's not an achievement or a goal to be met, but instead something in the back of our mind that tells us that it'll help drive us. Or maybe it's something at the back of our mind is telling us that we'd really like. One of my personal favorites is to just be gentle. Maybe it's to breathe. Maybe it's to be brave. Maybe it's to come a little further home in our body. Or maybe it's something very specific and personal that you know you should give yourself today. As you inhale, I want you to draw as much focus as you can into that intention, soaking it up. As you exhale, really settle down into our space, claiming this space for ourselves on our mat to really sink into that intention. Feel free to keep the eyes closed or gently blink them open. We're going to add a little movement. On your next inhale, let's draw the shoulders up to the ears. Exhale, bring them back and then down. Inhale, shoulders might just roll forward on their way up. Exhale, down. Rolling up, deep inhale. And exhale. Keep them down, feel that length, and let's bring the arms. Inhale, out and up like you're creating a big circle around the body. Exhale, out and down, stretch the arms long. Inhale, out and up. Exhale, out and down. One more time. Inhale, out and up. Feel the strength of your spine to support you here. And exhale, out and down. Very gently. Begin to walk the hands forward. Just breathe at your own pace. And come towards a forward fold. Sometimes we fold from our arms really outstretched above our head. I want you just to walk out really mindfully with the hands. Maybe you reach them long, or maybe you drop the elbows. Just soften the chest towards your ankles or the floor. I want you to soften the head. See if your sits bones are still rooted, and if they're not, maybe just gently rock backwards or lift out just slightly. So you can find your root again. If you're noticing quite a lot of tension in the hips, that's okay. Use that exhale. Every time we exhale, just softening into the spaces that have tension, almost like you're blowing dust out of a corner. Just clear that tension out. Go ahead and extend those arms if they're not already. And I want you to go to your right side. Yeah. Start to walk your hands over to a right diagonal. You might find that your chest can start to center over your right thigh. As you do that, keep that left hip down. Soften the neck. Continue to breathe. Gently walk it back front again. Take one full breath here. And start to move to your left. Gently walking your hands towards the left diagonal. Maybe the chest starts to center over the left thigh. Think about rooting down through the right side. Gently walk it back center. Take a full breath here. And gently walk the hands in, rolling up through the spine. So start to engage the low belly. Head comes up last. It's nice and heavy still. And then feel your low back start to straighten. And then middle, upper, and shoulders roll back. Take a deep inhale, stretch the arms out and up. We're going to tip to the right. Big exhale. Right hand down to the mat. Left hand reaches up and over. I want you to make sure your right elbow points into your hip or waist. And gently open up the chest, maybe gazing forward to help achieve that. Shoulders are away from the ears. You can imagine shoulder stacking over shoulder, over elbow. On your next inhale, gently rise tall. Use your strength, arms up. Exhale, left side. Left hand moves down to the floor. Start reaching the right arm up and over. In this shape, our elbow points in, fingertips out. Maybe gaze forward to remind yourself to face outward. You can think about shoulder, shoulder, and elbow. trying to come into a straight, nice, long shape. On your next inhale, stretch it tall. Twist. Exhale. Right hand behind. Left arm moves to the right thigh. Sit up really tall. And maybe start to look over your right shoulder. In this shape, our back arm is like a brace and a support. Don't twist with that back arm. Instead, use the arm that crosses in front to gently encourage your turn. Your obliques are working primarily. Soften those shoulders. Take one more breath with me. Inhale, think tall. Exhale, see if you can soften into that twist. Release. Inhale, arms up, facing front. Exhale, left side. Left hand moves behind the back. Right arm across the opposite thigh. Start to look over that shoulder. Once again, that back arm is nice and strong. It's just a support for the spine that's growing tall with strength. Your obliques help you turn. Front arm is a little encouragement. Take a deep inhale with me, get even taller. Exhale, settle into that twist. Inhale, arms up, coming back front. Exhale, hands down through heart center. Press those palms together. Bring the thumbs right into the sternum. I want you to come back to your intention and close the eyes for a moment. Remind yourself why you stepped on your mat today. Come back to that intention and let yourself soften into it. Gently blink the eyes open, and we're going to move into tabletop. You can roll over the ankles or sweep the legs around to come onto all fours. In tabletop, our shoulders are right over the wrist. Our hips are right over the knees. You might want to peek at your thighs and make sure that the knees are not too close together or far apart. Parallel thighs. If you have any wrist concerns, you're more than welcome to make fists for wrists. And allowing your mat to add extra support and padding is also a great support. With our fingers spread wide, take a moment to gaze between the thumbs. Feel the neck get long. Gently engage the belly. Take a moment to lengthen the spine. The hips are at a right angle along with the knees. If you have any knee pain, it's okay to go ahead and tuck the toes, or once again, fold the mat like padding. Whoever you choose to be, we're going to move into cow. Start to drop the belly, point the tailbone up to the ceiling, and gaze forward. We're stretching the front of the body and contracting the back body. Feel space through your collarbone. Maybe you can feel the strength in your spine, the long muscles that run along it. Maybe you can feel some stretch through the belly. Coming through cat. Do the opposite. Pull the belly up into the spine, round upward, drop the head, tuck the pelvis. Feel the shoulder blades stretching away from each other across your back. Notice how the spine and back body feels to be stretched, while now the front body engages strength. We're going to flow through it. Take a deep inhale, drop the belly, gaze forward. Cow. Exhale, lift the tummy, drop the head and the pelvis. Cat. Inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. I want you to take it a few more times on your own. And if it feels good, you can also take some organic movement here. Maybe you switch the movement to move slightly side to side. You can roll around the chest. When you take any organic movements or cat and cow, it's sometimes nice to close the eyes. Just notice how the spine and the hips feel. Gently come back to neutral. I want you to take an inhale and reach the right arm forward, no higher than the shoulder. Exhale, left leg back, flex the foot so the toes dial down, heel no higher than the hip. On your next inhale, see if you can get even longer. And then exhale, draw the elbow towards the knee, contracting the core. Inhale long. And exhale, draw it in. Use your own breath and keep going. You're more than welcome to drop the hand and just focus on the leg. You could also drop the knee and just focus on the arm. Wherever you choose to be, take one more round. And then come outstretched. I want you to press down to the floor to support your shoulder girdle. And then gently re-engage the core to get a nice long, flat shape. Gently release. Let's switch to the other side. Inhale, left arm forward, no higher than the shoulder. Exhale, right leg back, no higher than the hip. And as we flex the ankle, the toes dial down. Inhale, stretch a little longer. Exhale, draw it in, elbow to knee. Use the core. Inhale, stretch it long. Exhale, draw it in. Go at your own pace, move slowly and mindfully. Once again, you're more than welcome to just engage the arm or the leg. Take one more round, and then meet me outstretched. Take a moment to find your strength. Push down to the floor so your right shoulder is really supported. Engage through the core, find that line. Release, hand and knee down for child's pose. Sink the hips stack to the heels and stretch the arms forward. You've got options here. If it doesn't feel good to straighten the arms, you can bring them wide like a V, to a diamond, or even to a pillow under the forehead. You also have options with the legs. The knees can be under the chest and body, or you can bring them wide, wherever you choose to be. I want you to take 3 breaths on your own. Find that evenness in your in-breath and your out-breath. A child's pose is often a place of safety and rest. You're welcome to come to it any time during any class. It's a great way to just soften through any tension, recenter yourself, just give yourself a needed rest. Gently release. Bring the knees back underneath you if they're not already. And go ahead and rock back to our tabletop. We're going to come through our down dog next. Tuck the toes. You might need to walk the hands forward slightly and then lift the hips, creating a nice triangle shape with the body. In down dog, we want our fingers spread really wide. Ears are between the bicep. I want you to imagine the back of your neck getting a little longer. Instead of gazing forward at the hands, maybe gaze at the toes to help facilitate that. Our shoulders are strong and pushing the floor away. As the hips stretch up and back, it's okay to bend the knees. And it's okay that the heels may or may not touch the floor. The most important thing is that we're driving the heels down. Here in our down dog, we want equal weight in our hands and our feet. Maybe take your weight for a moment and shift it to the right side, too far. See what that feels like. And then the left. Maybe gently push onto the hands. You come out of alignment slightly. And then press it back, maybe bending the knees like you're stretching like a cat. Come back center. Plank pose. Gently move the shoulders over the wrists. In plank pose, you're more than welcome to drop the knees. That is totally fine. In our knees down pose, there's a straight line from the head through the spine, pelvis to the knees. If your knees are off the ground, you extend that line through the knees to the heels. I want you to go ahead and press the floor away with your toes. So you're coming a little bit more forward. Feel the weight in your hands, spread the fingers wide. Press the floor away so your shoulder blades are wide, not crunched together. Engage the belly. And on your next inhale, I want you to see if you can move your shoulders over your fingertips. If your knees are down, just stay put. Exhale down for chaturanga. Begin to bend the elbows. We're going to lower all the way down to the ground in a straight line. Elbows point back in this shape, close to the ribs. When you get all the way down to the bottom, untuck the toes. And we inhale through cobra. Lift the chest. Broaden the shoulders. Press down through the hands, pelvis, thighs, and feet. Down dog. Option to pass through your tabletop to get there. Long exhale. Let's flow that through. Inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. And exhale, down dog. One more time. Inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. And exhale, down dog. Take a moment to pause. I want you to bend your knees. Lift the heels like you're stretching back like a cat. Take a deep inhale. And then exhale, start to walk the feet all the way to the hands. It's okay if the hands eventually come off the ground and the knees bend. Forward fold. Continue to breathe naturally, and we're going to move into ragdoll. You can dangle the arms or reach for opposite elbows. Head is heavy. Gaze at the knees or between them to really soften through the shoulders. When we stand up this time, we're going to focus on rolling up, engaging the core and stacking our vertebrae for really good postural alignment. Release the hands if they're attached to the elbows. Put just a gentle bend in the knees. Start to roll up one vertebrae at a time. Think about your upper body being as heavy as possible, except for your low belly, which is starting to strengthen, and straighten your low back. Then middle, belly, and back. Then upper, chest, and back. And shoulders, roll back. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, hands down through heart center. This is mountain pose. Inhale, cycle the arms down, out, up. Exhale, fold forward. Arms can move out to the side as we start to flat back forward. Gaze at the floor, and then maybe at the toes as you fold all the way forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Move the hands to the shins for support and flatten out the back. Maybe you really come halfway. Exhale, fold back down. Inhale, plank. Plant the hands, walk those feet back. Make sure the shoulders are over the fingertips. And exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, down dog. This is our sun salutation, so let's do it again. Inhale, bend the knees, lift the heels. Exhale, walk those feet forward to a forward fold. Inhale, this time we're going to hinge to stand. So arms out to the side, flat back all the way up. Exhale, hands down to heart center. If it feels good to change the arms at any time, you're always more than welcome when we flow. Inhale them out and up. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. And exhale, down dog. I want you to pause for a moment. You have options here. Stay in your down dog. Take a rest in child's pose. But go ahead and come with me again. Maybe changing the arms to best suit you. I'm going to stop cueing for a moment, but feel free to watch if you need. Go for it. We'll all meet back in child's pose. Whether you're still flowing, you're in down dog or child's pose, I want to remind you that any time you're welcome to bring creativity into your practice. Especially if the teacher gives you that opportunity, remember to really play. It feels good to change the arms slightly, or especially if it feels good to change a movement or a pose to feel safer for your body, do it. Let's work back into our down dog. Three-legged dog. Gently start to lift the right leg up. Maybe you can even peek at your foot behind you. Flex the ankle, dial the toes down. Still press the floor away so the shoulders are nice and equal, not twisted one way or the other. Gently start to draw the knee into the chest, like you're coming into a plank with just your thigh up. Everything else normal. Step the right foot forward, runner's lunge. And our runner's lunge is our first pose that really is great for a block. So feel free to place a block under your hands. Our feet should be hip-width apart rather than feeling like they're on a tightrope. Take a moment to make sure all 10 toes face forward. Here in our runner's lunge, our back leg is extended and our right leg is bent. Knee, making sure it stays over the range of the foot, not going too far forward or too far back. This can look really different on a lot of people, so if you need to take a shorter stance, lifting the hips higher, that's okay. Or if you can cut down and low, that's okay too. If there's any pain in the back knee, we're going to go ahead and move into low lunge next, and it's a great alternative or in addition. Drop the back knee. Option to untuck the toes if it feels good. From here, you're welcome to keep the hands down on the ground, on your blocks, or you can start to move them to your knees. You can move them to your hips, or bring them straight up. No matter where you choose to bring your arms, both hip bones are forward, not open. Everything points forward. Both shoulders, both hips, belly button and heart. I want you to take a moment to release out of this slightly. Maybe bring the hands to the knees for support. Gently bring the front foot a little closer to you so you can bring both knees at a right angle. This time, I want you to keep the pelvis really upright, not letting it soften downward and tip forward. Keep your pelvis upright, maybe placing your hands on it for a reminder, and then just sink forward slightly. And you're going to get a different stretch in your hip flexor. Your low lunge might look like this, or your low lunge can be deeper. And the difference, your choice, has to do with where your pelvis is tilted. They can be great modifications for each other, or they can be two different poses to work on. Let's bring our hands down to the floor. Half split. Gently move your weight over your back knee, so you're kneeling on the left leg. Scoot the right heel forward if you need to, and this is another great option for blocks. Hand to the hip and one block, or hands on both blocks are equally good. Here in half split, our toes are lifted, ankle flexed. Gently release back to your low lunge, moving to lizard. Lizard is just like low lunge, but we're going to turn our right toes out to the side. There's a lot of variations in lizard, but let's pause here in this one. Our right foot is flat, just slightly turned out, so we're working into a turned out right hip. Maybe this changes the way your left hip flexor feels. In this pose, it's important not to roll to one side of the kneecap. Keep the kneecap rooted downward on the left leg. Gently release, framing out the front foot and squaring off the front toes. Tuck your back foot. We're going to move from runner's lunge into a side plank. Left hand down. Right foot moves back. And go ahead and windshield wiper or stack the feet. You have options to stack or leave them staggered. Right hand can come to the hip or up. Dropping your bottom knee is always an option in a side plank. If you do drop your bottom knee, you can play with your top leg for added core work. Wherever you choose to be, take a full breath here. Full plank, knees down or up, your choice. Deep inhale. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, down dog. Let's work into the left side. Feel equal weight into your feet and into your hands. Check your alignment for yourself. And then start to lift the left leg up and back. Flex the left ankle so the toes dial down. There's equal weight in the shoulders, nice and square. Gently draw the knee into the chest and shift the shoulders over the wrists. Use that core. Step the left foot through, runner's lunge. Take a moment to check that all 10 toes face forward and that our feet are hip width apart, not on a tightrope. Gently soften into this pose. Access any blocks you need. And feel free to adjust that stance to better suit your mobility. Let's drop the right knee if you haven't already. Option to untuck the toes. You can leave those hands down, bring them to the knee, blocks, hips, or up. Go ahead and play with your arms for a second and see what feels good on this side. It's very possible that from right to left, you feel really different in the way you stretch and move. We are naturally asymmetrical. Even the way our organs are positioned in our body are asymmetrical, and that's okay. Let's gently release out of it. Gently bring the hands to the knees for support, and then bringing that front foot a little closer to us. Let's take that pelvic work. Go ahead and make sure it's nice and upright. So you're engaging the core. Pelvis is upright, not tilted. From here, gently shift forward so you can find that more subtle stretch into the right hip flexor. Half split. Gently bring the hands down to the floor or to a block. Shift your weight over your back leg and extend your left. In this position, our weight is over our back leg like we're kneeling. With our left ankle flexed, our toes point up. Once again, this is such a great opportunity for blocks here. Just working in to the hamstrings. It's really easy to become rounded in our half split. We want to be long, accessing those props if needed. Lizard pose, start to release, moving back through our low lunge. Once you arrive in that position, turn the left toes out slightly. Once again, there's lots of lizard variations. Let's just stick to this one. Keep the left foot flat, and it's just gently turned out to open up the left hip. Nothing has changed in our back leg. I want you to make sure the kneecap roots downward. Just roll to one side or the other. Gently release into your runner's lunge. So first we square off our front foot. We tuck our back foot. Side plank. Start moving the left foot to the back of your mat. Stack the feet or stagger, your choice. And then left hand can move to the hip or straight up. Remember that you absolutely have the option to drop the bottom knee. And you can always play with some core work with your top leg. Wherever you are, take a full breath. On your inhale, full plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, down dog. Bend the knees, lift the heels, stretch back. Deep inhale. Exhale, walk to the top of your mat, forward fold. Inhale, hinge to stand. Exhale, down through heart center. Inhale, cycle the arms. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Pause. Bend the knees and plant the hands. You can bend as much as you need to get the hands down to the floor. Keep the right foot where it is. Step the left foot back to come into runner's lunge from this position. We're going to work into warrior two. Spin the back heel down. Start to bring the hands to the knees. And then when you're ready, open up the arms long. In warrior two, our back foot is no more than our right ankle to the back leg. Take a peek at your right big toe. You should be able to see it on the inside of your knee. This is an open position of the hips. Arms are stretched. Take a moment to engage the core so the rib cage is over the pelvis, and then lengthen the spine. This is a warrior pose for a reason. Build lots of heat and strength here. Soften those shoulders. Straighten your front leg, and then turn all 10 toes to face the same side of the room. We're going to fold forward in our straddle. You have a lot of options in the straddle. You can hang upside down. You can reach behind the legs. And you can also take some halfway lifts and really soften. Wherever you are, try not to sink back into the heels, but stay even over the whole foot. You can think about dropping the top of the head towards the floor. Maybe gaze through the legs to remind yourself to soften the back of the neck. Gently draw your attention to your right foot. We're going to walk our hands all the way around back to a runner's lunge at the top of our mat. Step the left foot forward in 1, 2, or 3 steps to get to the top. Forward fold. Inhale, all the way up, hinge to stand. Exhale, heart center. Inhale, cycle the arms. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Bend the knees as much as you need to plant the hands. Keep the left foot where it is. Step the right one back to find your runner's lunge from this position. Spin the back heel down, preparing for warrior two. Go ahead and bring your hands to your knees if you need to, then come upright with the arms outstretched. Stay where you are. I'm going to go ahead and turn so I can face you guys. Let's double check that our back foot is no more than our right ankle to the leg. This would be too much. This is too little. Find a nice, comfortable, open position in that hip. Take a peek at your left big toe. It should be visible, so we're not dropping the knee in, but staying even over our feet. All 10 toes rooted down. Engage the core. Rib cage over pelvis. Tailbone down. Stretch those arms. Build some heat. Breathe it out, people. Gently begin to straighten your front leg. Bring all 10 toes to face forward. This time I want you to heel toe both feet in and bring your hands to your hips. You're going to bring your feet underneath you. So your heels are a little bit more than hip width apart. We're gonna start to squat. Get those knees over the toes, maybe gaze at your big toes to check that's happening. Bring the hands to the knees. We're gonna move into malasana or a low squat. This would be a perfectly okay place to just pause. If this feels good, you'd like to go further, bring the elbows down to the knees. You might find that you need to adjust the angle of your feet or the width of your stance as you move and change in the shape. If you feel good here and want to continue, no pressure. You can always drop the pelvis down between the knees. Once again, feeling free to adjust your stance to find this shape. In malasana, it's important that we don't roll forward off the pinky toes, that we keep them rooted. Think about gazing forward a few feet in front of your hands. Keep the back of the neck long. And I like to really press my hands into each other to support my nice wide knees. In whatever position you've taken, don't think of it as more advanced, one way or the other. Just find the shape that suits you today. We're going to come out the same way we came in. You have the option to bring the hands down to the floor to help you release the hips up. Ragdoll. Go ahead and bring the feet to point forward, and the feet are about hip width apart. Hang upside down and shake it out. We're going to roll up just like the beginning of class. Gently bend the knees for a little support. Drop the tailbone. Upper body is heavy. Start to engage the low belly and straighten the low back. Then middle, then upper, and then shoulders. Gently bring the big toes to touch. Inhale, arms out and up, and keep them up. Exhale, chair. Sit the hips down and back. I'm going to face sideways for this, as we're trying to get a nice long line in the spine. If this feels too much on the shoulders, other options are hands to heart center, straight out in front, or back, following the line of the spine. In chair, we want to make sure the spine is nice and flat and long. Take the weight out of your toes, so you're not putting too much pressure on the knee moving forward, but instead shifting slightly back. Wherever you're choosing to bring your arms, think about your knees over toes. If bringing the knees together feels inaccessible, just separate them slightly. If that's the case, knees don't touch, but they still track over the toes. If you start to feel some heat building, that's great. Hold for another breath, maybe sink an inch lower. You got this. Dive forward, forward fold. Bring the feet hip width apart again, ragdoll it out. Take that roll up with me again, little bend in the knees, drop the tailbone. It's almost like we're stretching each section of the spine as we're strengthening it. All the way up. Take an inhale, arms out and up. Exhale down through heart center and pause. We're going to come through tree pose. Start to shift your weight into your left foot. Right heel moves to the inside of the ankle. If this feels good, you might go ahead and slide the foot up the ankle, maybe to the calf. In our tree pose, we want to make sure that our pelvis is underneath us. Spine is long. And our hips are nice and flat, so we're not opening up the hips. We are opening up our joint, moving this knee out to the side. As you get more comfortable, you can always bring the foot above the knee, but it should not go directly on the knee to avoid extra pressure on that joint. In balancing poses, it can be fun to play with where your arms want to be. But I want you to find your drishti, no matter what you're doing. It's a focal point. It's your focus. A spot maybe in front of you on a wall, something that doesn't move. And breathe into that point. As you pause here, if you feel any wobbles in your standing leg, press those toes down. Stand even taller. Any wobbles or shakes are just your body strengthening. Let's slowly release with control. Gently drop that foot down so gently. Switch to the other side. Start to move the left heel towards the inside of the right leg. Slide it up to wherever you feel comfortable. And once again, see if you can play with those arms. It can be a really great challenge. Don't forget about the fundamentals. Go ahead and make sure the tailbone doesn't stick back, but it roots down. Stand up tall. As we find balances, look for that drishti. And I want you to think about how a balancing pose is not the freezing or the clenching, but it's the slight adjustments within the body to slowly move towards center. So welcome the shakes or the wobbles. They're all part of the process. Stay engaged. You got this. One more long breath. We'll slowly start to release, dropping that foot with control. And gently step to the top of your mat if you're not already. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Inhale, plank. It's your last one, class. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, down dog. Notice how this down dog might feel different than the first one you did. Maybe you feel a little more tired, but maybe you also feel a little more open, a little more aligned. Gently drop the knees. And I want you to come to a position of your choice next. We're going to work into our shavasana, our final meditation. This is often taken just like we started. You can also take it laying flat on your back. I want you to take a moment to see where you'd like to be. If you have any props around you, like pillows, even a blanket, couch cushion, feel free to access that. I want you to notice your breath. Notice the rate of your heartbeat. I want you to slow it down. Close the eyes, maybe placing the hands on the belly, no matter what position you're in. As you slow down your breath, I want every exhale to soften any tension left in the body, any work left in the body. In whatever position you've chosen to be in, I want you to notice all the parts of your body that are touching the mat. I want you to feel yourself imprint downward. If you're laying flat, feel the weight of your pelvis, your rib cage, your spine, thighs, arms, feet, hands, and head. If you're seated, feel the weight of your body from the top of your head down into your seat, like a stamp into the floor beneath you. Rooted, complete in your body. Noticing that all the weight in your body is the strength of your muscles. The weight in your body is the bones that support you. It's your organs that keep our heart beating. It's our lungs that keep us and our breath strong and steady. Notice how soft the body can become, downward and still. Firmly planted and steady. And then the mind might just follow, clear of everything. except for a heaviness, a steadiness, an anchoring of the mind to this present moment. Then I want you to come into a spiritual space, a place of safety and clarity, a connection deeply to yourself, and to all those who also practice yoga right now or tomorrow. Giving yourself permission to notice your own energy, notice its calmness. You are complete, you are whole, you are safe. We're going to pause here, take a few breaths in the silence. In whatever position you're in, gently bring your hands to heart center, maybe laying on the chest or with prayer hands. At the end of class, simply acknowledge ourself. Then maybe notice the external with those who practice with us, both seen and unseen. And come into a place of gratitude for our body, unconcerned with achievement or goal setting. Just joy and gratitude for the little things it learns and does. Namaste. The light in me acknowledges and honors the light in you. Thank you so much for joining me in today's practice. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'm so thrilled to be offering these classes online. I'd certainly love to see you next time. Feel free to comment or send me a message with anything you'd like to share, and we'll see you again real soon. Have a great night, everyone.